Hello everyone, it's me Pavlo, and for this season I've got a new hat. And while this hat doesn't make my head totally flat, we are talking about flatheads anyway. And company name is Flathead Audio Model FH01. Debut model for this company founded by the enthusiast of the form factor. And these earbuds are created with one goal in mind: provide the maximum value. And I recommend you buying this model because of three reasons. First one, it's affordable, just $35. Second, it's really well sounding for this price. And third, if you'll be among the first 500 buyers, you'll get the similar hat that imitates flathead head, which is pretty cool in my opinion, and for this price it's almost a steal. So let's have a closer look. Box is simple and really straightforward, just company's logo on it. But what is most important here, in my opinion, that on the back side you can read all the specifications, starting with year of production and ending with cable type, silver-plated, oxygen-free copper. Also, you can see that impedance is 32 ohms and sensitivity is 98 with half decibels, and that means they are not super hard to drive, but they require a bit of additional power. Inside you'll get just a small case, really nice, really sturdy and reliable with carbine, and it's small enough so you can this is a case when you can really use this carbine and stripe it somewhere. And some quality control seal. Inside of this case comes earpieces themselves, some foams. You see that you'll get regular foams and donut likes. And the most surprising thing, actually haven't seen them for quite a long time, but this thing still makes a lot of sense in many cases. It's a short clip, really nice and good one for this earbuds, so it can in many cases improve the convenience of wearing. So let's go inside and see what's going on here. Bonus Velcro stripe, and here are earpieces themselves. Shells reminds classical Sennheiser MX500, made of plastic and easily distinguishable by color. So right is red and left is blue. Nice hue selected, I really enjoy it. They are pretty lightweight, but at the same time it's a nice plastic that feels really well. They of course fitting great in ears, as well as any other comparable earbuds, and overall looks pretty neat and exciting. Cable is also braided. You can see this attention to details where, so same hue of the cable that used on the earpieces. Not just some random blue and red, but you can see that red here is more like terracotta type of red, and wire is also not bright red or not pink, but just this hue of red color. Nicely braided, in spiral, really soft, so no microphonic effect or any issues with wearing. Goes down to this splitter, and after the splitter goes down to this compact 3.5mm jack. As you know, from one hand it's pretty simple design, from another hand it's really well done and really matching these earphones and this price tire, and everything just works together here. When it comes to the sound of earbuds or flatheads, you need to keep in mind that it's the most subjective thing in the personal audio world, because with in-ear monitors there are slight differences, but drivers work in the isolated volume and difference is not that big. And for the full-size headphones also there is some difference, but drivers are moved a bit further from your outer ears, and their shape and geometry doesn't impact the sound that much. But here it totally depends on how they will be located in your ears and how they will fit. And surprisingly for me, this MX500-like shells provide one of the best fits for the all earbuds. And because of that, I've got one of the best possible sounds, even compared with some more expensive models. Actually, my experience with flatheads is really limited, so I'm not an expert in this hidden iceberg of earphone types. There are a lot of models there, and there are a lot of fans who are familiar with them more. But I really enjoyed the sound of the FH01, and now I will tell you why. Also, I need to say that I prefer them with these foam tips because they making sound more balanced. Without foams, they sound a bit too shouty to me. But with foams, they are really good. And first thing that grabbed my attention is the bass. If you've seen my previous reviews of earbuds, you probably noticed that in many of them I said that you can't expect the same type of bass representation that in-ear monitors give you with earbuds. So, I was wrong. These things are not getting you 100% of in-ear monitors bass, but they provide a noticeable amount of weight and rumble, despite of sound dissipation from because of not absolutely isolating feeds. Still they manage to pump a noticeable amount of air to give me a weight of bass notes and rumble. It won't be like, bass heavy impressions that some in-ear monitors do, but it's one of the rarest cases with earbuds where I won't complain about the weight and about the body of the bass. Still, low frequency sounds a bit diffused compared with in-ear monitors, but I was impressed by the results. I've heard such low frequency representation only in much more expensive models by FiO. So, nice amount. Also, I must admit that quantity is also really good. Of course, quality is not perfect, but resolution is pretty decent. Sometimes it's a bit on the slower side, but just a little bit and not too much. So really good precision and overall nice representation. And I've selected two tracks as an example. First one is Amber Rubarth, Down Home, and it starts with nicely recorded acoustic instruments, and then also added a drum with really low punches, and it delivers with great amount of weight and with enough of details to give you that sense of realism. And track that probably I never thought I will use in inexpensive earbuds review. It's Diesel Power by the Prodigy. You'll get a nice amount of rumble, you'll get a noticeable weight of bass. It won't be like crushing and dominating, but still this amount of air delivered to your eardrums will be pretty pleasant and sufficient. But what is more surprising here is that bass stays pretty well controlled and stays at its place. Because I've heard earbuds with big meaty bass before, but usually it was just the bass and nothing more on top of that. But here you'll get pretty clean mids with nice resolution. Of course, it's not focused on the micro contrast. Don't expect like tiny nuances delivered to you, but at the same time amount of significant details is really good, as well as the distribution and dynamics. Actually, the driver used here is pretty impressive. I am surprised. And probably I'd like to hear it in some in-ear monitors, but maybe it won't be that good as I imagine. Anyway, nice resolution and really good emotions representation, good dynamics and nice control. They're not super critical for the quality of record, but these earbuds like tracks that are well mastered and not too shouty or too focused on the small details. And of course, what you can expect for earbuds, they build impressive imaginary stage. Of course, not to be compared with some high-end full-size headphones, but definitely bigger than even best in-ear monitors, because they are moved out of your ears, you getting more air, and also you getting that sense of the sound that comes from out of your head, not like from big distance, but still they just allows a bit of your ambience to mix in the track, and that gives you that amount of music that comes from the outside. It's really pleasant and impressive, and I really enjoy it. So, first example, it's Dark Necessities by Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I also enjoy bass line here. It's really, I don't know what word to find here, meaty, groovy, funky bass, and it's represented really well with these earphones. And also guitars and vocals are also sounding really well. And second example is here mainly because of the stage with Hey You by Pink Floyd. You getting this impressive stage, you getting that sense of big ambience, and it sounds really well. And actually, overall technical representation of this earbuds is pretty enough for this track. Not perfect representation, but still pretty decent in my opinion. Treble is accented. It's a bit sparkly and a bit on the energetic side of things, at least for me. So if you don't like treble, probably it's better to keep in mind that you need to find even thicker tips, or actually you can use equalizer. But in general, it's a pretty good treble. It's limited in terms of extension, and of course, don't expect some audiophilic layering typical for the expensive in-ear monitors, but both basic and extended overtones are represented nicely with accent that gives you sense of airness and spaciousness, and it sounds a bit lightweight from time to time, but attacks and decays are pretty fast and definitely doesn't make treble sounds sloppy or too soften. So let's go for the first example. It's John Coltrane, Part 2, Resolution. Of course, in terms of pure technicality, you need much more expensive earphones or headphones to enjoy this track. But I like how these earbuds represented with a nice separation of all these instrument overtones and without making them muffled or veiled. And second example, it's Englishman in New York by Sting. It's a bit too energetic to my taste with these earbuds, but at the same time I really enjoy how all these percussions are rendered here in this track, with all that cymbals and other instruments clearly separated and really saturated in terms of representation. So once again, let's summarize our audio part. pretty impressive weighty low frequencies, natural mids, and energetic treble. I definitely recommend using some deck or player with these earbuds, because a bit of extra power will be beneficial for them, as well as a bit of extra control. It will allow them to show their full potential and shine. And speaking about the comparisons, unfortunately, I don't have enough experience to make some proper comparisons, because I tested only different FIO models recently, so my experience is really limited, and this FH01 overcomes affordable FIO models easily and without effort. More expensive FIO models like FF5, for example, of course, sounds better, but price difference is also more than noticeable here. So I will say it in the other way. If you're looking for some entry earbuds or some entry flatheads, I mean not entry level, but entry in terms of you want to try it and figure out how this form factor will suit you, it's definitely a great choice, because the sound here is balanced, it's impressive, and they give you really balanced signature, and they give you that strong part of the flatheads, that build of imaginary stage and sound that comes from out of your head. This earbuds is a fruit of labor of passion, and it's obvious in almost every aspect. So I definitely recommend them to try, and even without trying, it's almost a safe choice, especially if you use a bit of equalizer to tame the treble if you don't like it. So really recommend it, great value, and I'm waiting to see more models by Flathead Audio. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and have a great day.